Hello everyone. I'm here today with Desiree Jonek from Women in Tech from WoMentor, and we are going to have her for her session today, and we will be having some important key points from her how she is helping women in tech. So this is like Desiree Jonek is the founder and mentoring platform WoMentor based in Vienna, and she's a director as well of the WoMentor. And it's just like I would like to share about her that she gave up her international management career in 2016, and in order to pursue her personal and professional mission for the women. So next we will be having her voice. So Desiree, welcome here, and we'll be having your words. We'll be pleased to have your words here. So please.
Thank you, Bindu, for the introduction. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I'm starting right away. I'll share my screen. Give me one sec, please. I'm starting this keynote a little different than what I had planned because, as you may know, if you are from Austria, you've probably seen in the news that today is a day where the 11th femicide in Austria happened. So the 11th woman has been murdered today in Austria because she is a woman. This made me pretty speechless, which is a bad thing since that I am supposed to hold a keynote today. And I was thinking, okay, what should I do? Should I still hold a keynote, or what should I do? I came to the conclusion that I definitely want to talk about this because, I will be talking about getting women back into tech. But the very basis for all our work, for what we're doing with WoMentor, striving for gender equality in the workplace, it all relays on one basis. And that is the basis of value. We have to value female lives. Women cannot be in constant fear for their lives. So let's just take this short moment to acknowledge what happened today. And of course, I'm not losing my words. So I'm using this opportunity that I have right now to talk about women in tech. I'm using my voice, as I'm always doing, to talk about why it's even more important to get gender equality if it's in the tech industry, but also on a general level, to have secure and safe lives with equal rights for women. Okay, so continuing on what we're talking about today, I want to tell you my story. When I was a young girl, my father used to tell me that I was not any good at math. So when I was doing my homework, he was standing behind me and giving me math exercises. And since I knew that he thought that I was not any good at math, I did not always come to the right conclusions. So I felt extra pressured, and that was a vicious circle. Interestingly, it was different for chemistry, because I knew that my mom, who is a doctor now, used to be very good at this subject. So I thought if she could do it, I could do it too. It was not my best subject, but I had decent grades. After high school, when I graduated, I wanted to study business administration. But I knew that I was not any good at math, so I was kind of scared of the accounting and statistic courses. So I decided to go for sociology instead. I was sitting in the first lecture and I knew, okay, this was not my thing at all. So I decided to switch to business administration, my first place choice. What do you think? How did I do in the statistics and accounting course? I admit I had to study hard, but in the end I got a B, and I was so proud of me. For my master's degree, I even decided to go to the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm because I wanted to learn more about media technologies. My name is Desiree Jonek. I am one of the founders of the WoMentor mentoring platform, and I'm standing here today as a confident woman who has followed her path, created her own career, no matter what others say or expected of me. And my mission is, of course, to empower women to do the same, to go for their own careers. We want women back in tech. Why did I choose this topic? We're here today at Austria's biggest job fair in the tech industry, the Tech Jobs Fair. And I think the tech industry should be just as diverse as the world is, with men, women, non-binary, black, white, BIPOCs, Asian, young and old people. Still, this is not the case. This is why today I'm telling you the stories of exceptional women in tech whose names we should all know. And then we're going to talk about some facts and figures in this industry. And in the end, of course, we will talk about what we all have to do right now in order to promote gender equality, not only in the tech industry, but, I think as a general awareness to stop femicides and to value lives of human beings, of amazing women. So, STEM at the university. Who actually takes STEM courses at the university? 30% women and 52% of men. So almost every second man takes STEM courses. What's the reason for this difference? The reason, we know those reasons. One of the reasons is that women tend to go for their A subjects, like I did, whereas boys tend to go for the subjects that they're interested in, no matter what subject they have, what grades they have. That's one thing. The other thing is, the stereotypical role modeling, what we expect our girls and boys to study, which kind of career path they should take. So the social expectations and norms play a big role in choosing your study subject. In the end, and I think this is really horrible, 80% of students can't name a famous female working in tech. 80%. That's huge, right? So I really want to change this, and I'm presenting to you a few women in tech you should know. What about the jobs? What about the tech industry then after those students graduate? How many women work in the tech industry? 25% women, 75% of men, so a huge part. And okay, I guess you have made the numbers. I said that I was not good at math, but this one is on purpose because it comes up to 100 already. Non-binary is unfortunately not even included in the data, but it's so important that we keep that in our mind, that it's not only black and white when it comes to gender, but that there's also a share of people who are non-binary, and it's not included in the data, but we have to think of this of these people as well. What about the gender pay gap in the tech industry? It's up to 20% in the tech industry, so this amounts to the global gender pay gap across all and most industries. This means that women make 80 cents, and whereas men make £1 an hour. This is a study from the UK, which is why we have it in pounds. For the same job, right? Just because of the gender. Horrible. Yeah, 20%. Okay, so now we all wonder, is this a historical fact? Has it always been like this? Is it, natural that women are just not good at math or at STEM or whatever? The answer, no, it's not. Which is why I'm presenting you amazing women who have been leagues ahead of her time. We should all know these women. Ada Lovelace, I'm sure you must know her name. I know that there are a few rooms in universities, technical universities are called by her name. So she was a true visionary. She was leagues ahead of her time. She was kind of the mother of programming. So she wrote a machine algorithm on paper, even before computers even existed. I think it was in 1870 or so, leagues ahead of her time. Remember her name. I love this picture, the women behind the ENIAC. The ENIAC was this machine that calculated missile trajectories during the Second World War. And there were actually 6 women, female mathematicians, doing the computings of the machine in the back. So we should all know that this was actually thanks to these amazing women. Another famous person, Katherine Johnson, you might have heard of her. She was kind of the first human NASA computer. What she did is she calculated the flight. She plotted the flight path for the early space explorations of the NASA before they actually went to the moon. And there's an amazing movie that I want to recommend to you called Hidden Figures, a Hollywood movie based on this true and untold story of Katherine Johnson and her peers of Afro-American women who were working at the NASA during the times of the racial segregation. So they really had a hard time, and they did an amazing job, like Katherine Johnson, who was also awarded and honored for her great work at the NASA. So do watch this movie, maybe even with your kids, to educate them about those amazing women and the job they've done. Yeah. Okay, so not a natural fact. There have actually been a lot of amazing women. Those were just a few names, of course. The list goes on and on. What should we do now? What can we do? Some tips for you as a parent. You've heard my story, what kind of happened to me. I know that my dad, he didn't do any harm. I think he just didn't know any better what he was doing when he told me that I was actually not any good at math. So first thing we should do is educate ourselves as parents and reflect our behavior, what the stories we are telling our children, how we're educating them when it comes to gender and gender roles. And especially then trying to avoid stereotypical roles also in the household. For example, if the boy typically takes out the trashes and the girl washes the dishes, this is a very stereotypical role modeling. Also, when you have a look at the toys, so that she gets the Barbie toys or the dolls, and he gets the cool action stuff, everything in blue. You know, we have the pink and the blue. The stereotypes, they are everywhere. So only if we educate ourselves and reflect, then we can start acting upon it and fighting those gender stereotypes to actually, because this is what we want to do, we want to go for their potential, right? You know, if it's a girl who is fascinated by STEM, by sciences, by chemistry, by math, whatever, encourage her to go for it. And if the boy, on the other hand, really likes arts and illustrations, or he loves to dance, why not, right? If this is their true potential, we have to go for that and disregard the stereotypical roles. Tips for men. That one is a really important one. Hashtag he for she, I'd say. And here I'd actually like to tell you another story, how I founded WoMentor, how I got the idea. And that was, I was sitting in a meeting room about 2 or 3 years ago. I was working in a strategy team on global car strategy. So there were 10 people involved in this meeting, one of which was me, and I was the only woman. The other one were white men in their mid-30s, I'd say. I felt terrible. I felt like I was not good enough for this brilliant team of experts. And usually I'm a confident woman. At some point, then the team decided that they needed to grow and get bigger. So what happened was that each of these men suggested another man to join the team. I was looking at them confused. Did they not see the imbalance in the room? No, they did not. That was the moment when I realized that I needed to raise my voice and say something, because no one was doing it for me and they wouldn't do it either. That was the moment when I decided to, bring women, join women into the team and make the men aware of what was happening. And then they thanked me for it. And you know what I would have wished in that moment? What could they have done for me? First of all, show empathy. What does it mean? Put yourself really in the shoes of someone else, even if you're not directly affected by the situation, because you're not the only woman sitting there. I mean, look around you. It can't be that you don't see it, right? Try to put yourself in someone else's shoes, even if they're not your shoes, and show empathy. That's the first step. Then educate yourself. You might most likely have heard of unconscious bias. There's trainings or readings about what gender equality actually is. WoMentor also does offer that for men if you want to talk about it on a very low level. Okay, feminism, isn't that too extreme? You can talk about it, educate yourself why it is so important to fight for equality. And then please be an ally to women. We need your support. In that situation, in that meeting room, you know what one of those men could have done? You could have said, well, I think we are 9 men here in this room. Let's add more women. Let's invite more women to the team. This is really how to be an ally to women. And then finally, promote women and gender equality whenever you can in your company, in your organization, or in your direct surrounding. Promote them into leadership roles, suggest them for leaders, speak up when they got interrupted in a meeting room. There's so many ways. We need you. Last but not least, tips for companies. This one is a really interesting one because as a company, of course, you carry huge responsibility, but the good thing is you can really make a huge impact. So use that. Yeah. First step, of course, fight unconscious bias. I really, really hope that most companies have started doing so already, not only in recruiting and HR, but across all levels, even and especially in management and boards. They should all know what unconscious bias is and how to fight it. If you don't know it, please come talk to me afterwards. Stop the bro culture, especially in the tech industry. There's kind of a strong bro culture, according to the study result I'm going to show later. Stop it. Women just can't participate, and it's not sexist jokes are just not funny for no one, really. So if you stop doing so, your workspace will be much more inclusive, not only for women, but for everyone. Third one, know your numbers. We are so thorough when it comes to knowing our sales numbers, profits, loss, costs, and so on, margins. But we should be as thorough with our people data, right? Google does an excellent job here, for example. They know exactly how many women get in. They know their pipeline. Then they know when they drop, exactly at which level. And then they did qualitative analysis and research why women leave the company. And then they found out, well, it's because of maternal leave. Oh, wow, really? Women get children? Surprise. So they adopted a really good and flexible maternity leave policy, and thereby they managed to increase the retention and promotion of women in their company. So only if you know the numbers, you can plan your strategy and execution accordingly. Yeah, OKRs, maybe it's really good to have diversity and gender equality goals reflect in your company OKRs. Put them there tied to some specific KPIs, tied to some specific person. Then it's going to happen because it's not happening by magic, right? We know that. Only if you have it in your company OKRs, it can become reality. Yeah, to once again have a look at what are actually the biggest barriers for women and women of color to get promoted in tech. Most women say, well, there's no clear path forward here in this company, like where there's no leadership role model, no women on top. So how should I ever get there, right? Yeah, gender bias is of course a big issue. If you don't know the bias, we've had that already, then it's difficult to act upon it. And even harder for women of color, racial bias. Even harder because they are not only hit by the gender bias, but also by the racial bias, making it extra hard for them to get promoted. We have to fight this. What can you do now? As a tech company to support women in tech, great study from 2021. Again, a report from the UK, I think. First thing, offer equal maternity and paternity leave. Not so difficult, right? Should be the same for dads and moms and everyone who gets kids. Volvo in Sweden does a really good job here. They offer equal maternity and paternity leaves for everyone. This actually having a big impact also to you as a woman, because then you're much more freely in how you can plan your career, because it's not up to you naturally to take care of the kids. No, it's about sharing care leave equally. And as a company, you can have a huge impact on that. Yes, 62% of women want unconscious bias trainings in their companies, because if we have had the topic already, if people don't understand that there's a bias, a gender or racial bias ongoing, they're not going to see it and they cannot act upon it. There's excellent trainings for that. And I'm sure most of you tech leaders do have that in place already. 62% of women want flexible scheduling and locations, especially during the remote work. I think this has made a lot possible, and we have seen in our own survey with WoMentor and Deloitte Austria that companies manage to offer those kind of more flexible scheduling models, and that especially people with care responsibilities are pretty satisfied with that. So that's a good one. Providing mentorship opportunities. 72% of women want this. This is brilliant. We can help you with that with WoMentor, because we are all about mentoring. The power of mentoring is really, you have a mentor and a mentee, and then the mentor gets kind of accountable for the mentee's promotion, for her to get a raise, to get higher up in the hierarchy, to provide network and contacts. This is so important. So if you provide mentorship opportunities, and especially if you link them to measurable KPIs and outcomes in the end, and hold the mentor then accountable, this is what you call sponsorship. It can be a very, very impactful tool to break the glass ceiling and pull women up, because this is what you want to do. Yeah, and finally, please, 80% of women say, do promote more women in leadership. We've heard it, it doesn't happen by magic. Please put it in your OKRs, put it on your company's agenda. It is as important as the sales numbers, because they will increase as well, because we know diversity and gender equality is a boost for innovation. Please, let's all act now. I think my introduction made it pretty clear that we need to act, that it's still not the case that we value women and their lives as we should in Austria. And in most countries, we have to act now as a parent, as a man, as a company, as an organization. There's so many ways you can empower women in your company. Please do so, and I'd be happy with WoMentor to help you out, to offer mentoring opportunities, coaching, and also consulting your company on how to get those gender numbers in there. Do connect with me in the booth. Thank you. Looking forward to your questions. Stopping my screen now. Are there questions? Oh, I cannot hear you. I actually can't hear you. Damn it. Bindu, I cannot hear you. Damn it. I will try to come back maybe on the stage. Okay, it's not just me who cannot hear you. Thank you, Sabrina. Well, if there are questions, I'm happy to answer them if you have questions in the chat. Also happy to take on. If not, feel free to add me on LinkedIn or come join our booth. Okay. Okay, there's a question. I'm reading it. In Eastern European country, the proportion of women in tech is much higher than in the Western Europe. Is there an explanation for this, or is it something that Western Europe country can learn from the Eastern European countries? Interesting that you're saying this. Yes, I've actually just seen those statistics as well, not just for the tech industry, but also in general for management and leadership position. And I think the reason for this is actually socialism, because during socialism, women were always, as workforce, were equally important and demanded as men. So in my opinion, there was no difference made. Also today, I think in most Eastern European countries, like they don't really, like Mother's Day and those things are not really a thing. So it's more to socialism, connected socialism. I don't understand, however, how it goes together with Catholicism, because this in many Eastern European countries, Catholicism is pretty big, and this is not necessarily well. Okay, not continuing on that. I hope this kind of answered your question. Religion was forbidden during the socialism, right? But now it's not, right? My 2 cents, my 2 thoughts. No. As we see in Poland becoming increasingly, yeah. Any more questions? So sad we can't hear you, Bindu. What about product design opportunities? Okay, is that a question to me? I'm not sure. I don't have product design opportunities, unfortunately, if the question was to me. In general, product building. Like for women, you mean? Like, okay. I think product design is really cool. Just saying something here. For women, yeah, really cool opportunities. I think so too. I mean, for everyone, right? I'm trying to avoid stereotypical thinking, like, because I've also seen a very interesting study. I don't know how much longer the stage is going to be open, but I'll just continue until they close it. I've seen a very interesting study where they separated tech jobs for women and for men. And of course, tech jobs for men were generally better paid than for women, unfortunately. But then it's also very much differentiated by the roles, because men then tend to have the roles, more technical roles with more responsibility, that tend to be better paid. So I'm not a big fan of saying like this specific tech field should be for women and this specific tech field should be for men. I think it really depends on your skills and on your potential, what kind of job fields you're interested in. But generally, I agree. I think that UX design and product design is really cool. I'm also a big fan. And maybe this is a good opportunity, because what most women maybe think is, tech is like so analytical, and then you don't really have anything to do with like users and people. That's not the case for especially UX design or UX research. You get a lot in touch with the customers. You need to explore and do research. And then also design is a very creative job that is generally very interesting. Yeah, so that could be a really good step to pull women into that area. And I see a lot of women doing like studying and working in that area as well. Would you mind in connecting with us? Yes, please reach out. Under the Federation of International Trade of Investors. Yeah, this sounds lovely. Of course, we would be we're interested in collaborations. We're setting up all our partnerships now in June, May, June. So love to get connected. Suggest you to just join at our booth. I don't know how much longer the stage is open. Bindu, maybe can you type in the chat, because we still can't hear you. Or is it just me? Suggest any IT women organization or group in Austria. Yeah, there's a really cool one. The new IT girls, they are called. They they're all about IT for women. Then I can also suggest Women in AI. That's especially about artificial intelligence. And then our cooperation partner also, they are all cooperation partners. But then we also have Upleveled, which is generally really, it's not a female network or so, but it's a coding boot camp. They're doing amazing work, and they have like gender balanced graduates who actually learn to code. This is a really cool boot camp. I can very much recommend connecting with Upleveled as well. And then there was a third. There used to be Women Who Code, but I'm not sure if they're still active. It was I joined a hackathon by them, and this is actually kind of how the idea for WoMentor got started. Really cool organization as well.